Everybody a second to join. Am I live? Okay. So good morning. Good morning. Um, it's been a pretty interesting week. This week I watched a movie. I have not been this moved by a movie in a pretty long time. I mean, I was moved by Top Gun because that's just something I grew up with and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. But I watched Sound of Freedom this week. And it was a movie that I really did not want to go see. I was kind of like, I don't really want to be putting these thoughts in my head, and I was avoiding it and all of that. And so I kind of had low expectations going in, really not much expectations going into it. Um, but referred by a friend. She was like, "You got to go see this movie, and then let's have a conversation about it." I was like, "Okay, well, if it leads to a conversation, I'm always down for." And hey, Louis, welcome. Um, so I went to see the movie. Now, the movie itself was actually pretty good, like action wise. It was actually pretty like intense the whole time, so it kept me up. But there were so many times during the movie that I felt like I was hearing my own calling. There was even a line in the movie that said, "When God calls, you don't hesitate." And all the different characters. There was a lot of depth to the characters, and I love movies. I love superhero movies, like Avenger movies and Marvel movies, because a lot of these, um, all the superheroes kind of go through their hero's journey, and there's a point where they get the calling. They hear the calling, they ignore it. Things happen in their life until something happens where they can't even ignore it anymore, right? And so all characters kind of had awakening moments to actually do something about child trafficking. And the movie was done in such a way that I've never actually seen a movie do. Right at the end of the movie, there was a really good message for us, and I think what I want to share about the movie is, I know that the movie can uh engender fear, a lot of fear thoughts, right? It's like the world really is not safe, and watch out for your kids and all of this stuff. um and it could throw us into a spiral of fear, attack, judgment. And this is the conversation that we really got to have, the awareness of ourselves when that really comes up. And this movie definitely can put us into that. And the actor, I don't remember his name, but he's from Lost. He was Jack from Lost, the show. So I really like him. He did such an amazing job there as well. But the movie itself, really, I personally feel like is a message of hope. An extension of hope, a message of hope, where they actually ask us to extend our own message outwards about the movie, inviting others to see it. And there was a really good take about movie theaters that they actually said at the end of the movie that was like, really, very rarely in our day do we have moments where we are completely uninterrupted by anything. And in the movie theater, you are not on your phone, You're focused on the screen the entire time. You're allowing your reality to suspend into the movie, so you're living in the movie. And I think that this movie was really, people coming together with a true message that they want to share with the world. Most movies are for entertainment, is action, um, or it's funny. You know, uh, this movie had a real message to deliver to us, and personally, whether you saw it or not, it's about, you know, just bringing awareness to child trafficking, in our world. And it is a very atrocious thing, and I think it's definitely, I feel called to do something about it. Right now, what I will do is I will share about this movie. I mean, they did such a good job. Um, so sharing that is kind of just my first act of doing. Now, the course says you need do nothing, right? So I mean, I really don't need to do anything. The need for it is not there. I could simply just pray for the healing of all things, of all people involved, including the people that go to the movies to watch. Because what the course teaches us is that there is only two ways of looking at things. One is you see it as love or a call for love, or the other way you see it is you start judging and you start attacking. And once you go down one path of judgment and fear, you can't help it but stop if that's in your mind. So, I had a conversation about this movie with a couple people already. And it's interesting how everybody has different takes on it. Somebody said, I all the people that do this stuff should be what, do the trafficking should be wiped off the planet of the earth, the face of the earth, right? Like God just strike them down. But that's to say that God made a mistake, right? See, when we do that, that's to say God made a mistake, and we bring justice into our own hands. We bring attack into our own hands. Um, so there's that aspect. My take was, how can I extend even more love? And I realized during the movie that, these people that actually are fully committed to doing something for that, they're living inside their calling, right? This is what they're doing. And again, I share how miraculous it is that there are doctors around the world, no matter where, no matter what time in human history, there were always healers, there were always doctors. It's fascinating that people are just called to do that, right? And then it's also fascinating that people are called to completely dedicate their lives to helping, restoring, and saving the children that are in that space. Yeah, Luis, and we'll definitely talk about that. We do feel a calling to do something. And so I realized that I'm kind of clear on what my calling really is. Right? I know that my function and my purpose is really to continue to inspire others, inspire the light in people. But a part of me felt like I'm only dancing around what my calling is. Like the people in the movie, they were willing to risk everything to do it. And so I kind of was asking myself, where am I living deeply inside my own calling? Because I left the movie theater and it was in Palace Station, which is like a casino hotel. So I left it feeling like I need to live inside my calling. And I come out to, slot machines and blackjack and everybody kind of just gambling. Right now, no judgments at all, but it's just like seeing the difference, the two different aspects of how people are living their life on this planet. Truly being able to see that. There are those that are like victims that are in that space. There's the child traffickers and the pedophiles that, make that whole industry even possible. And then there's people that completely are, just avoiding the world and just trying to pass time, right? Or gamble or any of that. Like it's just time isn't really that precious. But it's because we haven't realized how to use time yet. And this is what the course is always teaching us, that the only purpose of time is to teach you how to use time. And I believe that, the people that were involved in producing this movie, everybody has a mission also. The movie was halted for 5 years. It was filmed 5 years ago, and they reached blockages everywhere. Now, I also had another interesting conversation with somebody about it. They said, well, the people this is kind of like the war on drugs. The people that made the movie are actually the ones, that are involved in the biggest traffickers. I was like, wow, that's a really big speculation. An older version of me that was always, that loved conspiracy theory and blamed everything on the government and everybody else. Yeah, would have really played into that. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't think that really matters. What matters is my experience during the movie, right? For me personally, if I was like, this is just another somebody covering something up and diverting our attention to something else, maybe, but it's a real thing in the world and awareness was brought to it, right? And for me, I had personal feelings of calling from God during the movie. Like, live deeper inside your calling, do it with more passion, do it with more fire. you know for me, I've been pretty, not everybody knows me in this way, but I'm a avid video gamer, or yeah, video gamer. I'm a avid gamer, and I play this game called Diablo on the computer, and sometimes I get sucked into it for hours. Now, I do a lot of things. People probably were like, "Oh my god, how do you do all that and play video games?" Because I've made that a priority. Now, it's taken a lot of my time. Sometimes my wife complains about how much I play video games, and after watching the movie, I quit cold turkey. Just completely quit. I'm like, that's a huge wasting. I'm wasting my time, big time. So it actually moved me to do something, and it's been a while since something just moved me and shook me in that way, that I would just completely stop something else that I'm doing. Right? I think the last big impactful thing was, I don't know, back in when I was like 19 years old and I ate a handful of mushrooms and went horseback riding and connected with my horse so much that I never ate meat ever again. I chose from that moment cold turkey not to eat meat. That moment moved me to do something huge. This moment, this kind of did the same thing. Right? There was just a really clear, loud calling. And so I think for us, every individual is looking for something to do with extreme passion. Napoleon, not Napoleon, yeah, Napoleon Hill, in Think and Grow Rich said, you have to find your burning desire, the why. Like, is our why burning? Is it burning you that there is no excuses that you make ever? You're never a victim of anything because the burning desire is that strong. Like, do we have any? Do we live into that every moment? And so, I don't 100% know what is going to shift for me, but I know that has inspired me to actually write a script. That movie has inspired me to write a script for my YouTube video, which I have not. I've been asking for clarity on this on my YouTube channel. I was like, I don't know. I'm getting coached on it, and there's a lot of stuff just like, just do what people want to see. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. It doesn't really sit well with me. I can use strategies that help me, retain more attention and engagement. Great. But I don't want to create something just for the purpose of entertainment. Most of you guys know me. Like, I want to be much, much deeper than that. When I teach real estate, I go much deeper. In our masterminds, I go much deeper. Everything I do, I want to go a little bit deeper in relationships. Right. So, yeah. So, has anybody seen the movie? If you're commenting, if you're watching live, If you have any takes on what you think in the movie, right? Because right there, I already showed 3 different perspectives in looking at the movie. And 1,000 people go and watch this movie, there will be 1,000 takes, 1,000 perspectives. So we can share our experiences about the movie, but I'll kind of go into maybe teachings of A Course of Miracles and maybe what I think the way the course will have us view it. Wendeley, yeah, good to see you here. Welcome. So yeah, if anybody wants to share anything, I want to take action, I just don't know what to do. Yeah, it's a movie that moves us. It makes us want to do something. And we get to ask ourselves every day, what is it that we're doing? Are we contributing? Right? I say this a lot. When I wake up in the morning, first thought is, all right, I need to contribute. My job here is that I'm going to contribute to the healing of the world today, or I'm really just aimlessly, blindlessly walking and doing things. So I do a little prayer. I do a little meditation in the morning when I first wake up. It's nothing crazy. I don't go into a whole process. I do it while I'm laying in bed. I just try to clear my mind. I try to really feel the moment, that like this awakening moment that I have. And how do I inspire more love and inspire more light in people? Right? Inspire inspiration in people. Sound of freedom. So, at the end of the movie, there was an actual interesting thing. It was like, help people that can't afford to go to movies, watch the movies. So I think if you go to, don't remember the website, but it's probably all over the internet, they give you free tickets. And people that have watched the movie, the smallest thing they could do is buy a ticket for somebody else. I bought a whole bunch of tickets. So hopefully, I don't know what lives I'm going to touch. And that's the thing. Even if we choose to do something, we do it with no expectation of the results. We do something, and how does it make your heart feel about what you did, what actions you took? That's the most important thing. It's not about what impact it's actually made. The impact has to be made in the curing and the healing of your mind. Like, do I feel like I've contributed to the healing of the world today, or do I feel like I'm contributing? And the way you contribute is to add attack and judgment and bring justice into your own hands, into your own thoughts. Because even avoiding the whole conversation is better than going into it and then leaving the movie with more fear, with more attack, with more, injustice thoughts in our minds. And that's the message I really want to get out to people that are watching the movie. It's not like, oh my God, let's blame the government, let's blame Homeland Security, let's blame people, let's blame, everything. Right? I mean, immediately we're like, well, why don't we release the contacts of Jack Epstein or something, and then let's go kill all those people, or let's go put them all in jail. Death sentence is probably better. It's like, dude, these are all children of God. Right? God didn't make a mistake creating anybody. So instead of bringing more war and more pain to our own minds, let's use this as a teaching device to help us heal other relationships in our own lives. How can we extend more love, more compassion? Yeah, sure. Well, one sec. Love conquers everything. Forgiveness conquers everything. It will overtake all the pain, all the suffering, and everything. So, yeah, Adam, I know you wanted to share. If you want to share, go for it.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought that you were speaking about, hearing from others and wanting to have shares on this. So,
Go for it.
Hear you? All good? Okay, cool. Yeah, what came up for me, we were probably, I think we were recommended by the same individual. And when that person recommends something, there's no hesitation.
You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, we went, to intentionally to a small independent theater here in Fort Lauderdale, just to support that movement as well. And we had heard about some controversies where people had been in the movie theaters in different areas of the world, and all of a sudden, like halfway through the movie, the power's out, and they're like, "Sorry, you guys got to go." So there's like some stuff. Oh, these same kind of like thoughts of, and also hearing who actually produced it and all these kind of things, and like what we did and I did was like let that expectation as we were working on in other places go, before walking in. And what came up for me, it's like I heard you just sharing about how let's release Epstein's list and all these things, and this vortex that exists in society right now of finger pointing and blame and others, and bring it back to like the context. Much of the context of Course in Miracles is like what how is this perception being generated from my reality, and what can I shift within me to see this, because the other is just separation, separate pain. And then from that, what opened up for me in the movie, from that separation and pain, someone is wanting to, as they say in the end of the movie, consume the sex trafficking. There's something in individuals in the world right now in this 3D human form that is having that desire, thought, want, and even to take action on it, be present for people. And I would say men and women, but for me, the action steps is to deepen working with men around sacral chakra, sexuality, shaming, and all these different things, because like as the, I would say cutting off, for lack of a better term, but as the awakening of these things within, and like doing some of the deeper work, spiritual work, working with mushrooms, working with different modalities to find the healing within. And that may be way outside of my current training, but like the network is there, of trauma-informed healing and all these things, that has that desire to be there and start to cut off even the marketplace for these things to happen, as opposed to going down into the jungle and rescuing kids, like created to there's literally no more any desire for that at all, because really it comes down to humanity. And why would a human do that to another human? And so like equally like you just moved to the point of, wanting to run out of the theater with a torch in my hand and just be like, let's go, that kind of thing. But and it's interesting because there's the current 3D work that I do and other things, but it's just the message that came through is just get started. Take one step, work with one man, make an impact on that one man's life, and then another man, and another man, and another man. Not to exclude women, but I'm working with those who I work with, because there's a lot of sexual shaming that men have shared with me, that like no matter what, there's a little bit for almost every young man that goes back to childhood, when we find these feelings in our body and like, ooh, what is that? That's wrong. And like, how does that develop into something else? So that's what came up for me.
Yeah, thank you. Every time you share, every time you speak, it's always really profound. So appreciate you actually stepping up and and sharing also what your take is. And yes, I definitely believe that the same person recommends for us to go see the movie. So Love and her actually had a 2-hour conversation yesterday about it. But even my wife and I walked out of the movie having different perspectives. She left extremely, extremely sad. And I left feeling inspired to do something, right? To like speak on my ACIM calls, and when I speak in front of people with more conviction, with more passion, and a stronger why of what I'm even doing, like why I'm doing it. Because there's definitely times that sometimes I'm like, I don't really feel like doing it. And then, something like this shows up. I'm like, I can't wait for the next time I speak, right? The next time that somebody's listening to what I'm saying. Like, I have an opportunity to deliver a message. Storytelling. The Course said that the most important people in the world are storytellers. I mean, the movie. Yeah, the movie said that. And, oh, one more thing. And this probably won't, it's not going to give anything away about the movie, but one of the biggest contributors of actually, saving these young girls and children in this space, he was actually a kind of like in that space himself. He was part of the consumer, of this industry. And then he just felt a complete darkness, right, in himself, that when he saw, like, in the eye of the 14-year-old after they did their thing, um that the darkness that he saw in her eyes was actually him. And that was his awakening calling. So we don't really know the purpose of all of this stuff. The really what it comes down to when we watch a movie like this is, what are we gonna do? Right? What are we gonna do about our own lives? Where can we add more love? Where does fear conquer more all the areas of our lives? How does my attack add to the attack of the world? Right? And like you were saying, like, we bring it back down to what we can do, one person at a time, one impact at a time. If anybody else wants to share anything about Sound of Freedom, or I want to read something in the course that talks a little bit about that. Marlene, go ahead.
Oh, hi, Alex and everyone. That is, as I mentioned already, like in the Legends chat, Alex. I'm not there yet. I guess, like you are, so compassionate. As Adam mentioned, it's just the fact that it's humanity, right? Like, how can one human being do that to another human being? But my point is, it's another helpless and like susceptible to everything around him human being. It's a child, And when you add that to the picture, I cannot, and I I guess I cannot get to that completely compassionate point in my heart where I can see the molester as a child of God. So yes, so and sorry about that. So my point is, yes, your calling is beautiful. Where can I add more love, more acceptance, more like, so all this is not happening right around me and around my loved ones. But it's definitely a very disturbing movie, and I can relate to Love why she was walking out very sad, and that is definitely the mother in her is like we excuse me, tend to protect excuse me, but so anyhow, it was a tough one to watch. As I said, everybody is not an entertaining movie. It's not like you're there to be entertained like any other movie. And it just it's sharing some light into something that we tend to just look at the other way, right? Like, we don't want to even talk about this or think about it because it's so dark, so heavy. But it's unfortunately happening. So um, to me, though, other than sadness and all that, also it's touching the part where, as you said, what can I do? And I still do not know what I can do about it. It is, like actively, but also, to be honest, just I'm going to be overprotective for sure around my two little ones, and I also felt for that woman, like, once again, not giving too much away, but how can a woman, I just cannot see how you can participate in any way as a women. Like, we have been so away from that feminine energy that we see that almost normal. Oh, it's her own gain because of the money or position or whatever. But for all the women out there who are listening, like, just keep in touch with your feminine, vulnerable, and I don't know, just loving part of yourself. That was also my take on that. So thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Alma wants to share. Go ahead, Alma.
I want to point it out that I have been aware of this huge human social injustice, whatever, violence, crime, and I haven't been able to be, take action to help prevent this. But it's just a reminder that this has been going on for since human people existed. This behavior, human behavior has been with us since human existed. But these days, we're here, we are alive. It's our chance to do something. And I posted, I put a link there, just an example of this movement has been trying effortlessly for many years to get involved and bring awareness. And I think it's super nice that it finally came out in the big screens so the masses can go hear the message. It's very important that the masses wake up because a lot of people are not aware of what's going on. So kudos to the movie, and I'm not going to go see it because I already know what's about. I'm sorry, I don't have to see it. I know that the issue, I know the problem, and I know that it's either my responsibility to move and go with the movement, or just keep spreading the awareness, wake people up, because I don't have the capacity to start a movement. That's not in me. But yes, I am able to speak. I have my voice to say, hey, do you know about this? And that's why it's good that this movie came out. That's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And what I'm gonna say right now, I've said before, but in this specific instance, might seem a little insensitive, but I want you guys to kind of open your minds and your hearts to what I'm about to say. So the course talks about everything is inside us, right? All the injustice feeling and all the attack and all of that. It's really just inside us. And the need to do anything is unnecessary. You need do nothing. Nothing needs to be done. Because what we're really when we say that we need to do something and that something needs to be done, we're also saying that, let's say all of these pedophiles and human traffickers, they should be struck down. What we're really saying is, God, you made a mistake in your creation, right? Like, these are actually bad people and this is wrong, but that is according to our judgmental mind, right? So the need to do something isn't really necessary because time will continue to go on. Justice, whatever that's going to look like, will come from spirit, will come from a Holy Spirit. Interactions are all meant to have an opportunity to create a holy moment and a holy relationship, even in that pedophile and child relationship. Okay, there is an opportunity for holiness to happen in there for both parties. Now, again, what we're living, right, in this world, this is really what the Course calls the dream world. What happens in the dream did not happen in reality. In reality, the Course is saying that we are really all still in heaven. And that means you can bring your mind to a place of heaven right now. You have the opportunity and the possibility to do that. So then what is it for? When I watch this movie, what is it for me? Right? Is it to bring up more fear? Am I going to do more things in a scared way? Not that being cautious is not is bad or anything, but I'm just saying, does it engender more fear in us? Remember, what we make real in our minds, we start to project into our reality. The world is really just energetic, electromagnetic fields of our creation in our mind. Like, what we actually see changes, what we believe changes what we actually see. Like, the reality in front of us is shaped based on our belief systems, right? Because it's a neutral canvas that's painted, and we've now painted a bunch of things on it, and this is what I see. Imagine a white canvas board. That's really life that's happening. All the stuff that's happening is just a white canvas. It's neutral. In a neutral state, we don't blame, we're not judging, we're not afraid. Everything is just this. right? But once we start creating judgments around different things, we have different color paints on this canvas now. And instead of seeing life as life, the beauty and the miracles of everything in life, let's just say this blank canvas is miracles every moment, right? Because miracle is really to bring our minds back to the moment of no discrimination, no judgment, and just living in complete trust, right? So that's the white canvas. When we paint onto it, all of our judgments and all the stuff, now that's what we see. And so we see now a picture of different colors rather than the like life itself as God created. Um so in dream, right? In our world, something seems to have happened. In reality, nothing has happened. It's a dream, it's a nightmare of things that's happening for us. Now, can I bring my mind to a level of forgiveness? What is it all for? When I watch this movie and the stuff that comes up for me, they're teaching devices for me. Whether it comes from this movie or it's going to come from my mom, my sister, my coworkers, an investment situation, all of this, where does this same thing come up showing differently in different places? Judging somebody, like extremely harsh, right? Harshly judging somebody that I'm the judge and this person is wrong. And we can see that in all the different areas of our lives, and where it comes up for me also, like in this judgment and attack, I get super competitive when we're playing games, especially board games. So we've been playing Monopoly Deal with Nick and Love, and me and Love actually get into our competitiveness and we just like attack each other nonstop. Now it's in the board game, it's kind of like practice, but Nick is also witnessing our relationship, right? Like, oh, is this what a marriage looks like? Is this what Alex and Love looks like when they're in this game? Right? Is this how we're always showing something, right? So can we bring it to all areas of our lives? Like the same pain that we feel, and where does our mind go to? When you go into attack, when you go into fear, that is your mind losing peace. You've lost sight of heaven. The vision of one world costs you the vision of the other.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Can you repeat that?
Oh boy, which part?
Oh, the division.
Oh, the vision of one world costs you the vision of the other. So when you see attack, love is completely gone. When you're in judgment, trust is completely gone. Right? So there's really only two things that's happening. You're either looking to the light or you're looking to the darkness. And so when we watch this movie, it can quickly tell you, the results of your mind will quickly tell you how you look upon the world also. Do you look to the things that are scary? Does it automatically bring fear up? Right? Does it engender fear about your future, about your children's future, about the world itself? Because as you go down that path, your mind and we are powerful enough to continue to create evidence of that. Please shout out a little dark angel. I don't know what that means, but sure. But you're not in big trouble. See, that's the thing. Even if that happens, every single moment is a moment that you can choose to awaken. This call is just a reminder. These messages that you hear, they're reminders of you that you don't have to choose to look that way, no matter how extreme something shows up that triggers that for you. But if you can remember that the vision of one world costs you the vision of the other, that means I either see love or I see fear. And the experience that you have, the feeling you have after watching a movie or after a conversation with your mom or sister or whoever, it shows you whether your state of mind is at a place that's looking at the light, looking at peace, or you're looking at fear. You're afraid, and those things come up. And every time it comes up, the Course says, because you've chosen to turn towards the darkness, you can't actually get out of it yourself because it's real for you. You find value in the attack, in the fear, in the being right about something there. You find value. Now, remember last week we talked about the development of trust. The development of trust is, okay, there is a powerful being that walks with me, that all things that are happening is done for me, for the good of me. There's only good that is happening. Imagine thinking that while watching that movie, that this can only contribute to the goodness of the world. What? Alex, you're crazy. All right, let's see how far we can extend and shift our belief systems. Can in the possibility, infinite possibility of everything that is possible in the future, could this movie and these atrocious events only contribute to the good of the world, to the waking up of the world, to the healing of the world? Can it? Could there be things that are worse than what's happening there? And so I want to read something from the Course that talks about what is justice. This is kind of at the core of our attack, because we believe there gets to be justice. But I am the judge and I am the executioner. And that's the problem here. All right. So I'll read a little bit. Hopefully this kind of brings up a new conversation and awakens something in us. What is justice? This is in the back of A Course of Miracles, if anybody sees right here. What is justice? Justice is divine correction for injustice. Divine, okay? Not ego justice, not ego correction, but justice is divine correction for injustice. Injustice is the basis of all judgments in the world. So judgments bring injustice. Okay, so think about when we're watching this movie. The injustice that we see comes from judgments of the world. Justice corrects the interpretation to which injustice gives rise and cancels them out. Okay, so true justice is to correct and shift judgments. That's what it's really saying. Neither justice nor injustice exists in heaven, for error is impossible and correction is meaningless. In this world, however, so the world that we live in, Adam says this 3D world that we live in, however, forgiveness depends on justice, since all attack can only be unjust. Justice is the Holy Spirit's verdict upon the world. Except in his judgment, the Holy Spirit's judgment, justice is impossible. For no one in the world is capable of making only just interpretations and laying all injustices aside. So it's, everyone is going to be in this boat of judging, of judgment, and partaking in the injustice of the world, which is really just a perception. Okay. The thought of separation would have been forever inconceivable if we were to come to a place, right, that we knew that everything is just, because everything is God sent, is for the good of humanity, to the waking up of humanity. Justice, like its opposite, is an interpretation. It is, however, the one interpretation that leads to truth. This becomes possible because while it is not true itself, justice includes nothing that opposes truth. There is no inherent conflict between justice and truth. One is but the small step in the direction of the other. So the important thing here is to recognize still that justice is of the Holy Spirit. That the correction of injustice is of the Holy Spirit, not of us, not of the ego, not of your need to be right about something, that judgment actually creates more injustice. Our judgments lead to more injustice. Because here's the thing, our judgment will say, let's execute all these people. Right? And then now we've created this barrier to emotional connection with our brothers and sisters. Instead of creating more compassion and deepening our level of love, we've created more of a barrier. Right? And I talk about this a lot in my financial freedom, financial mindset spaces, which is how willing we are to create an emotional barrier or disconnection to people that are suffering and in need. Right? Like, I'm driving around and I see somebody on the side of the road begging for money. I'm like, dude, it's 120 freaking degrees out. There's a part of me that says, yes, I'll give you some money and this and that. And some I'll just be able to ignore completely. A brother or a sister is suffering on the side of the road. It's 120 degrees. I wouldn't be able to make it out of there 120 degrees. What part of me has me not do everything I can to end that like scenario? Right? Now there's also a part that says you help the people that you can around you. So there's always a conflict in our minds. Right? But we want to push ourselves towards compassion and love. Yeah, I don't know, it's like 120. It's crazy. We want to push them more towards compassion and love, opening our hearts more to our brothers and sisters so that we may recognize in the mirror, okay, that they are a mirror for us. Where have we closed off to love? Where have we closed off to compassion and all that? All right, so let's give in like justice and judgment, give it over to the Holy Spirit. We practice acceptance of the message that is being delivered to us. The more we give the power to ourselves, the more we disconnect ourselves to being able to receive the answer. And we live less fulfilled, and we live more into video games, and we live more into slot machines and blackjack and all of that stuff. Things that are not moving us forward, really. Things that are just more disconnection from reality and more disconnection from time. So the more we put things into our own hands, the more we disconnect from source, from God. And that is the only problem that we have. So in this big conversation of human trafficking, of child slavery, and all of that right now, can we find trust? Can we give these moments over to the Holy Spirit? Because this, whatever your blockage to source and God is, will lie right here and where you're unwilling to give it up. No, they should not exist on the face of the earth. That is what you're unwilling to give up. But can you give that judgment up to the Holy Spirit? That, I trust that there's a purpose for them. I trust that their purpose is for the contribution to the healing of the world. Whoa. All concepts of your brothers and yourself, all fears of future states and all concerns about the past stem from injustice. That means all of our fears stem from injustice. Injustice is our judgments. And our judgments is but an interpretation, which first we must recognize that our judgments is an interpretation and not the truth. And if we can begin to separate that, because we live as if our judgments is the truth. And we don't give the world a chance. That's what we will see. If that becomes the truth, that's what you will see. is it possible that the thought of love in your mind stops somebody from doing crime somewhere else? Right? See, we either think that it requires physical doing to make a change, or shifting our minds can change the frequency of things around me. That's also the vision of one world costs the vision of the other. We either live in physical bodies that something has to be done physically, or we live in that we're all connected spiritually. That means the shifting of something healing in my own mind heals all the things around me and all the things that I see. Right? It's one or the other. And this is the confusion that we often have in our minds. Yeah, the hard pill to swallow is like, am I sitting on the throne, or is God sitting on the throne? Do I believe that God should sit on the throne because of all these other things that's happening here?
This reminds me of forgiveness.
Oh, yeah, that is always what we're talking about. But yeah, go ahead.
Forgiveness and surrender that, yes, I'm a big whatever. I'm an awful person, and I have to surrender and turn around and walk in the light. And it needs to be done a person at a time. One person at a time needs to say, I am so, horrible person. I got to drop it, let it go, be in the light side. Stay away from the dark side. That's how I see it. Little by little, each person needs to get down on their knees and forgive. And that's how I see it when you talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if each person needs to get down on our knees in that way. Needs is not necessary. That's what the Course is saying. You could, maybe it works for you to be, to be in such, such gratitude, right? That, huh?
I'm saying reverence, in such reverence.
Yeah, exactly. In such reverence that you drop to your knees. Now, there are moments in my life where I'm so thankful that I really should just be on my knees. The miracles and the love around me and all the things that has my back. I mean, when you recognize that, like, yeah, it will bring you to your knees in reverence. Now, if we think people should do that, that really only creates the opposite, because there's a part of our minds that is saying that something is wrong with the world. And we believe that there is a world that is happening. So what if, right, everybody's living, I don't know, 80, 90 years or something. Imagine that's just like our sleep time, right? When we sleep at night, we sleep like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever. And we wake up. The dream dies. Whatever is happening dies there. When we actually give up our body and we die, what if that's the end of the dream and we actually wake up? Right? So that is a possibility of all things that are possible in the world, in the realm of the world. That means all the stuff that we make up and the pain that we carry with us to our deathbed, including our judgment around all the atrocious, horrific things that are happening, pain, sex trafficking, all of those. Right. And I don't know about if promoting it is going to heal the world, but also promoting it is not going to hurt the world, because the world is perfect as is. Nothing you can do can actually make a difference, because according to God, that looks through the lens of love, an error gets to be corrected, and his child, his son, capital S, the one child, is just in a dream right now. Now, this is much deeper into creating, like trying to find peace in our minds. So this becomes a topic that's like woo-woo more, but you know, all of us are kind of shifting between those two thoughts all the time. Go ahead, Jess. You want to share something? You have your hand up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I guess what's come up for me in these 4 years post transformation gratitude trainings is that, and if I were to sum up all the lessons that I've learned through you, and A Course in Miracles, and the different teachings that I follow, is that peace, which is basically what we all look for, peace and love in our lives, is peace. What we're looking for is peace. It comes from inside, and the only way that I know that peace is going to come in the world is that all of us as individuals find peace inside, and the peace, when I find that I lose my peace is when I'm in judgment, when I'm in expectation of things coming out the way I want them to come out, or the not
Missed the last part. You froze.
yeah. I guess what I feel is when I'm in peace, the way that I think that peace is going to come in the world is that when we're as individuals have peace, that's what we transmit. That's what we transmit to our loved ones, to our immediate circle, to the people whose lives we touch, and that's the only way it is going to happen. That is going to be finding peace within ourselves and being able, and like that abut, because it's not going to happen like with a book, anything. It's just not, people are just not going to wake up. Start with us, with ourselves, and then that we start spreading that to all our people around. But I found that the only times I lose my peace are when I judge and when I'm expecting shit to happen doesn't happen my way, and so that show what's happening inside of me and my soul, not what other people are doing.
Yeah. Thank you. Brooke. What's up, Brooke?
What's happening, Alex? Good morning. Excellent call. Excellent call. I've not yet seen the movie, but I intend to with my daughters. So I made a comment, and I want to make sure I understood you. And it was regarding that's a hard pill to swallow because you made quite, a statement. We're all God's children, so on and so forth. So if we're all God's children, why are we having humans be your example of pain, sex trafficking to theoretically promote healing of the world? I mean, you said a statement, I don't recall what it was, because then it comes across as God being the arsonist and the firefighter, right? So you said a statement, I don't recall, but can you provide clarity to my statement that I'm saying, why, what I'm hearing, where I'm confused?
Yeah. So this is actually the ego mind that, like, we need to understand why God created the things that he created. Right? Like, how could he create that? That means that he's just playing a game with us. I don't know. Maybe in order to help us wake up from the dream, some of these other sides needs to be seen. Right? I don't know. But the whole thing is, can you come to a place that you just simply trust without questioning? Right? From that space, it will bring more peace to you, because that's what you're looking for. Everything is a learning device, including whatever is happening there, including what's shown in the movies. Maybe this is the reason. Maybe these things had to happen so that somebody would go and make this movie, and everybody can wake up to it, and everybody can have a more deeper discussion, so that we don't fall deeper into automation. I don't know. Maybe it's to stop us from falling into automation. Maybe it's just to, these things has to happen so that our hearts actually open a little more, because so much stuff has happened to us that most of our hearts are have the strongest Teflon armor on around it, right? Maybe something like this needs to happen in order to pierce the armor so that we can actually see our hearts again. I don't know, right? So maybe they're doing. People think about the thoughts that come to your mind. You can't help; they just come. All right. So the people that are going through the I don't know, whatever they find in children that's like attractive for them or whatever, they can't help those thoughts. Right. I don't know where it comes from, but I don't want to judge it, because I can spiral down and all it will go to is a dark place for me. Right? What's it going to lead to? It's going to lead to, if I keep going down that path, is me going to become a vigilante. Does that help bring peace into my life? I don't think so. Right? And I also believe that a part of me, adding to like teaching people to break free from the money game, and it's not just becoming like, yes, it's becoming financially free, but it's also freeing ourselves mentally from the construct of the money game. If we can free ourselves from that, and the world starts to free ourselves from the money game, maybe that wouldn't even be an attractive business for anybody to do. Right? If we weren't driven by money, nobody would go and do that. Right? Money is what drove those people to actually have a business trafficking children, because there was a demand for it. So there's always some kind of cause and effect that's happening, which I don't know the entire picture. And the more I can say I don't know the entire picture, the more I have to give it over to God. And that's the practice. If enough things happen where we're like, okay, this is totally not worth it, I just got to stop judging. It doesn't give me anything. What can I do then? How do I bring peace to my mind? Because we think that the act of exterminating this thing, right, this disease, I guess we'll call it, is going to save my mind, that I will finally be at peace. But you know what? Even if that happens and we go and play a game of Monopoly Deal and I lose my peace again, right? Or anything happens, like whatever is happening, this is why we need do nothing, is because whatever we think we need to do is not going to bring us the peace that we think it will. Yes, it's always recorded on my lives and Instagrams and all that and YouTube, so you can always rewatch it. All of my social media has this pretty much recorded. So if people behave the way we want them to behave, can I confidently say, now I will not lose my peace again? No, we all know that that's not going to happen. So how do we start using this event and this judgment to heal ourselves? The healing of the world is really the healing of our world, because the world does not need to be healed. My perception needs to be healed. That means if I'm going to wake up today, the way that I contribute to the healing of the world is I heal my own perception around judgments and attacks and where I cause chaos. And I know I cause chaos because I feel it. I experience it. Loveless experiences come from loveless thoughts. That means somewhere I must produce loveless thoughts. That means to heal the world, to heal my experience, I got to heal my thinking. So I showed a video a couple weeks ago. I don't know if I showed it on here, but I do want to end today's call showing that. And it's a 4-minute video. It's how you change people. Interesting topic. So how do we do that, right? And I'll take any, maybe I'll show it first so that we can actually create discussion. Now, people that are on Facebook, Instagram, all that, you might not be able to see it, you might be able to hear it. Definitely hop on to my Zoom if you want to actually be watching it live with us. I will post a link right now I will post a link to the Facebooks and to all of that so that you guys can also watch it at the same time. So I think I can paste it here. Okay, cannot post to some channels. So I don't know, LinkedIn and Facebook, I cannot post to, but Twitter and YouTube, I'm posting to. Basically, look up Garrett John, how you change people. All right, so this is a 4-minute video. We'll look at it real quick. Oops, I don't have sound shared. And hopefully this is going to bring something. And then I'll also, on Instagram, I'll make it loud enough so that you guys can also hear it. Wait, what did I just share?
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Garrett John.
Yeah, Garrett John.
Change people.
Mm-hmm. He also did the Wayseer Manifesto that you've seen.
Oh wow, I knew that powerful message was familiar.
Yeah. Like, think about it. Like, when we make judgments, yeah, Marissa, when we make judgments and attacks and we point out people's darknesses, we take away their ability to choose the light. So if we really want to heal, we don't take away their ability to see the light. And we don't take away our own ability to see the light in that moment. So what you will do with the movie, with what's going on in the world with child trafficking and all this stuff, that's up to you. Like all of us, we can choose to do something or we can choose to do nothing. In the grand scheme of things, none of that's really going to matter. It's just, can you sleep? Can you live your life with peace, knowing that that's going on around you? Right? Some may, and no, that's fine. Doesn't make them worse or better or anything. Some may want to take extreme action and go to Colombia or go wherever. I was reading that this family went down and started a church, that that is where all the rescued little girls go to. Awesome. That's a calling that requires, that's a calling for them to do something. Right? I don't know if I have a calling to do something to that extent. But I will share my thoughts on it. I will continue to heal my own mind and in turn do it with everybody. And if I yes, there's a link to the video. I'll share it. But it's a powerful message. The way that we look at something, it changes based on the way that we observe it. Just the way that we observe it. World leaders, religious leaders, those in power. We can either keep seeing the darkness in it, and that's what we will continue to see. Or we can choose to see the light. See the God plan within all of it. And that just requires trust from us. All right, so of course I opened the book, right? Marianne Williamson, Miracle Maker, day 152. What I appreciate appreciates. What? That's basically the video we just watched. No, what I appreciate appreciates. Today, I appreciate all the blessings in my life. I do not take for granted all the wonderful things I have. I feel my gratitude with a humble heart. I appreciate my abundance. I know that as I do so, my abundance will appreciate. Oops. May all that I have be used by God to bless others as it blesses me. I am reminded of those who live lives of pain and pray to be useful to heal their suffering. Dear God, today I give thanks for all I have. All that it is, I surrender to you and pray it may be used for greater good. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
All that I appreciates. Oh, great. So good. She's such a wordsmith. Okay, any other thoughts? I know it was kind of like a deeper conversation and maybe people are kind of uncomfortable with it, but oh well.
I think that
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alice.
I think I am more confused than I when I started a meeting. It's like, do I just shut up and just live in silence? What do I do? It's like anything I do is judgment. Anything I do is opinionated. Everything I do is like one-sided.
Yeah. Well, Or you can, think about it like anything I do, no matter what I do, no matter what I choose, is only going to contribute to the healing. Because according to the Holy Spirit's perspective, there is nothing you can do, right? Even something that's done as atrocious as what we're talking about here, can contribute to the healing of the world. So then there is nothing that you could possibly do wrong. It always provides learning opportunities. That's the only reason to do anything, is to learn.
Yeah, and that's where I come from. Every time I do something, say something is deep from honesty, deep from my heart. I mean it. I believe in it, and that's why I'm sharing it. That's how I live by. Do it from love. Do it from honesty. Do it from that place.
Yeah.
Let's have a party, man. Let's have a good life. Come on now. Die tomorrow, you're gonna die, in 5 minutes. You never know.
Yeah.
So let's have this big smile,
Yeah.
Have a party.
Yeah, there are definitely moments where, I feel like, even for me, I'm like, okay, maybe silence is the best thing for this. Right. And then there are moments where I'm like, I'm called to speak about it. And there's, nothing, neither one is wrong. I just got to shift my own judgments around myself. Right. So, all right, go ahead. I think Marlene, you wanted to say something, and then Antoine. Or Antoine, you could go first.
Sure. Yeah, I've been listening all morning, and I think there's an opportunity here to recognize the force and the power that we have as human beings to create. I think we are all have the power. We are all part of the cosmic power. We are, spiritual beings living in this body, and as we can tap into the spiritual side, there is a power that we can leverage. And so when I saw the video, for me, it reminded me of perception, how you see things, obviously. And as you choose to see the positive side, it can be confusing, but if you're paying attention also, and I'm reminded of this because I was in another class where they were talking about how Jesus, performed miracles. And an example of the people who were handicapped, every time he saw those people, he didn't see them as handicapped. He always saw them as whole and holding the image of God. So by the time he spoke for them to stand up or whatever, he was already projecting and perceiving the healing that he called forth. And so in this session here today, for me, it sounds like as you perceive the positive side or the wholeness side or the glorified side of that person, or whatever it is, you as a person are projecting the whatever energy you have in a positive way, or the spiritual energies or powers that you may have into that situation to bring it, to bring positivity into that situation, so to speak.
Yeah. Thank you. Marlene, did you want to share something?
Oh, yes, thank you. I know you were saying, this might be uncomfortable for people, something like that. I just wanted to point out that also requires courage to bring it up and, to discussion, because it almost forces us, even if we don't want to look at that way, it forces us to do so and really revisit what is it that came up for us. So really thank you for the opportunity. And sorry about the mess right now, the noisy background. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the acknowledgement. And kind of just to wrap up today's call also, about Sound of Freedom and your experience around it. Just know that the way that you leave the movie theater is really just a reflection of how you see the world. And this is something that people don't want to hear. What do you mean? This is actually what's happening. We don't want to take responsibility of our experiences, right? Because like I shared, my wife left extremely sad and like, oh my God, humanity is doomed, versus me leaving feeling completely inspired about stepping into more, like I shared, passion, conviction in the way that I speak, in the things that I do. I want to bring more of that burning why into it. I want to create more clarity in my own life, why I'm doing what I'm doing. Right. So I felt very inspired because the characters in there were very inspiring. The movie was very inspiring. Everything about it was inspiring to me, right? Because inspiration is real in my mind. Now, for her, fear is very real for her, right? A lot of her conversation comes, a lot of it comes to about, oh my God, when we have kids, like this is the environment that they're going to live in, and they're never going to look at screens. Like it just comes out from a lot of like fear of, I don't want them to do this, or I don't want this to happen to them, and there's no right or wrong about it. It's just, how do you get yourself back to a place of peace? What are you making right about? Right? That's all it comes down to. Again, it's like, I've lost my peace. If you lose your peace watching the movie, what's our motto? God, please show me a different way to look at this. Right? I don't want to attack. I don't want to judge. I'm in no position to judge. This is your world, God. And I'm not going to contest for the throne. So please show me a different way to look at it. I am willing to look at it, and please show me a different way. And then let's see if you repeat that enough, that does it change? Right? Can watching that movie bring deeper trust into humanity? Right? That may be a question to ask ourselves. Can watching Sound of Freedom bring deeper trust? Can I build deeper relationships? Have deeper conversations? Right? It's not just, when I go to work, it's not just the same old every day. That will something change in the way that I'm being? So, yeah, we got a couple more minutes here.
It just reminds me right now what you say, just like COVID, what COVID brought to humanity, the same trigger, the same, state of, the same frame of mind situation. So that's how this message of the sex trafficking, child abuse topic is about. This is our chance, this opportunity to, hey, reflect, hey, what's going on? Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Brooke. Yeah, anybody else have any thoughts, comments? We're wrapping up in the next like 4 minutes here. And yeah, go ahead.
So as I listen to you, I'm trying to capture, are these cases where you just say, hey, God, this is your world. I want to look at it a different way. Or is this a chance to also say, God, I'm your temple, I'm your son, I'm your daughter. Flow through me to do something about it, let me be part of you so that I can address the problem, so to speak, instead of separating myself.
Yeah, but is there a difference in those two questions? Right? Let me see it differently brings me the clarity to show me to work through me. Right? Let me show me what you want to show me, God. Right? I want to let go of the way that I see it. Show me what you show me. Right? Show me a different way to look at it so that I may see it as a calling and as a vessel to work through me. Right? What am I supposed to do? And it comes through these messages, like clarity in the voices that come to your mind. They're not, you didn't make up these voices in your mind. The thoughts that come to you is direct messages, but what will you listen to? There's noise and then there's truth. So that's why the internal conversation, the internal meditation, the stillness is very important. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and we were talking about our high cholesterol levels. And we're like, okay, it's genetics. We're like, okay, yeah, let's just blame it on that. But you know what? Both of us have something in common. We were extremely stressed we were in stressful situations for the last 6-7 months. So I was like, for me, when there was a couple of things that I did that brought clarity, and immediately things changed around me. Right? Like when I started doing this doing this like stillness meditation for like 15 minutes a day uninterrupted, I ended up getting clarity on changing the background color of my pitch deck and reaching out to this other person. It came to my mind to do it. And when I did those two things, raised $1 million in a week. And I'm like, well, did I do something? Did I actually do something? Or did I hear something? Or was I instructed to do something? Right? I don't know. But you need those moments of stillness for messages to come. And the messages are always there. Exactly what you're supposed to do is always right in front of you. And yeah, and I was like, and I asked, do you do any meditation practice? She's like, no, I don't, but that's really not for me. I'm like, says every person that is super stressed out. Meditation is not for me. So I knew that and I usually do my ACIM. I'm able to do meditation and stuff, and I sit and I have stillness and I meditate almost every day. There's many times throughout the day that I have meditative practices, but during my very stressful times, I let those things go. First thing I woke up in the morning was pick up my phone. What can I do today? See, it was all like, do. What do I need to do today to make it happen? And these calls remind me to slow down. These calls remind me to ask, how else can I look at it? And together we're co-creating this. I hope that the healing that also happens in my mind is also working through everybody else here. And maybe the healing that you guys are creating for yourselves is extending to me too. I mean, I know that that's happening. Right? Just, I've been very closely working with Natalia for the last 2 years. Her miracles show up as my miracles. My miracles show up as her miracles. And more of us are starting to have that happen. There's a waking up together. Yeah. We just like 5 minutes, begin with just 5 minutes of, I don't need to pick up my phone. I don't need to do anything. Let me just sit here and experience myself waking up. Okay, I'm awake. The bed sheets feel amazing. Let me close my eyes and imagine the room that I'm in right now, that I'm waking up to it. Like, those are moments of stillness, and it helps you just ground yourself. And, that's when something comes. And it's so funny because I also get that in the shower. I don't have my phone. Nothing else is going on when I'm in the shower. It's my moment of stillness. And that's why a lot of downloads come when we're in the shower. But now my wife found out that Apple AirPods are waterproof or whatever. So now she brings her AirPods into the shower. I'm like, dude, it's so funny. I walk in there and she's got her AirPods on because she's not answering me. I'm like, what? Brooke, so do I. See, we can't even stop to give ourselves a couple moments without the freaking AirPods. Right? Without technology, just like nothing but you and yourself. Can we do that for 5 minutes? Can we do that in the shower? Can we do that while we're driving? Something. We're like, no, I need to be distracted by something. Right? And lately, I don't know how I developed this habit. I don't know how long I've had it, but I usually need to turn the TV on before I fall asleep. And my wife just laughs at me. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna put something on and fall asleep right away?" Because I go to bed. I'm like, no, we gotta watch something. I turn the TV on. The second the TV goes on, I fall asleep. She's like, "Okay, let's do it without." And then I lay there, I fall asleep. So like, I don't know what the habit is around that. It's just habit creation, you know. And Natalia gave a great speech on atomic habits on a presentation on Thursday night. I'll have her create a little course around it, but it was great.
I was gonna say that too. I'm ready. I'm in the process of creating that, which you encouraged me to do. So I'm really excited and looking forward to that and have it on the Mighty Network.
Yeah. Now the funny thing is, you know, I'm trying to get cardio going, right? So she was like, "Okay, well, just attach it to something that you like doing." I'm like, "Okay." And I'm like, I like being on my ACIM calls and things like that, but that hasn't really gotten me going. She's like, "Well, let's do the opposite. You can't be on your ACIM calls, your own calls, unless you do cardio." So I did do Stairmasters, and that's why I'm on this call. And I got to do cardio before my Wednesday call also. So I'm starting to build up my cardio thing, and this is it. I'm like, wow, my motivation is here. I hate Stairmaster, I hate running, I hate doing all that stuff. But you know, I know I need to do them, right? I need
on a Stairmaster. That's my favorite.
running on the Stairmaster. Okay, I'll try that. So, you know, thank you, Natalia, for the reminder. Right, it's good.
Absolutely, that's awesome.
And I've shared this strategy with her when we were doing coaching. I was like, hey, extreme punishment for yourself when you don't do something. I shared that and I didn't do it. So now being reminded again, now I'm like, okay, my extreme punishment is I can't get onto these calls. Go ahead, Antoine.
I got into a debate on this one. Remaining still when you wake up, and I get downloads. I solve most of my problems in this mental state. Remaining still in your bed versus getting up, sitting down, having some kind of pose, and then intentionally trying to meditate. Is there a difference between those two styles?
The only difference will be your judgment of the difference. So that's what we look at. Because to me, I'm just like, okay, cool. Both sounds good to me. Right. But if you're like, no, one's better than the other, or one's you should do one over the other, the problem isn't the doing of those. The problem is the judgment of it. You know? Yeah. So that's all we have to ever look at is to pay attention to our judgments. Because, like the Course says, it's not that we shouldn't judge. The Course is not shooting on us. The Course is saying you are not even capable of judging. Because one day you may have the best download just in bed. The next day you may have the best download actually intentionally sitting down meditating. Which one is better? I don't know. Neither of us do. So one day do one, whatever you feel like doing, just do it. As long as you give yourself that quietness. And I don't even know if that's the best way to do it. Maybe to turn something on your phone and listen to some frequency on YouTube or something may help. Listen to a guided meditation. I don't know. I just know when I put guided meditation on, if I'm laying down, I'm falling asleep for sure. Doesn't matter if I just woke up. So, for those that did gratitude training with us, we've done a lot of close eye meditations while laying down and get comfortable position. It's funny. I just start snoring all the time. And we just coined it as yogi naps. It's while I'm napping, all of the healing is actually happening. So, all right. That's it. That's all for today.
It's a very simple question. What's ICM?
ACIM is A Course in Miracles.
Oh, ACIM. I missed that ACIM. Oh, okay, thanks.
ICM in miracles. Wait, Course in Miracles. ICM. Yeah. In wait. CIM it would be. It would be Course in Miracles. It's a course. See, the thing is, it's a course. A course. The course actually says one of millions of different curriculums of courses that is teaching the same curriculum. It's not the with a capital THE. It's a course in miracles. It's a course in miracles. There are other courses in miracles.
Absolutely, like many people's personalities.
Yeah. So, all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here. Thank you everyone for being here, for your participation. Anybody that's watching live, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you guys on Wednesday, if not sooner.
Thank you, everybody, and have a blessed day.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys.